Quitting doesn't make you tired. Fighting does. And I know you're tired. Not the "I didn't sleep enough last night" tired. Not the "I worked a long shift" tired. No, this is the kind of tired that sits in your bones. The kind that makes your soul ache. The kind that has nothing to do with sleep, and everything to do with the war you've been fighting in silence. You wake up with it. You carry it all day. And when you lay down at night, it doesn't go away. It just stares back at you in the dark. People see you moving. They see you showing up. They see you doing what you need to do. And they think you're fine. But they don't see the truth. They don't see how heavy your limbs feel when you pull yourself out of bed. They don't see the way you stand in the shower, letting the water hit you, trying to convince yourself you can face another day. They don't see the way you sit in your car before walking into work, breathing deep, forcing your hands to stop shaking, trying to gather enough strength to wear the mask one more time. You smile when you're supposed to. You nod when people talk. You even laugh at the right moments. But inside, you're somewhere else. And that somewhere else is a battlefield. No one tells you this part. No one warns you that being strong isn't a loud, glorious, cinematic thing. It's not marching forward in shining armor while everyone claps for you. It's not fireworks. It's not applause. It's not even recognition. Real strength? It's the quiet, invisible act of getting up when you feel like your body is made of lead. It's showing up when your mind is screaming at you to disappear. It's doing the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, even when your heart feels like it's stopped beating for hope. And here's the part you need to hear. This exhaustion you feel right now, it's not weakness. It's proof. Proof that you've been in the fight. Proof that you've stood your ground against everything that's tried to break you. Proof that you haven't surrendered. Even when surrender was the easiest thing you could have done. You think you're worn out because you're not strong enough. But no, you're worn out because you've been strong for too long. There's a difference. I want you to imagine this. Two people run a race. The first person drops out halfway. They sit down. They rest. They breathe easy. The second person keeps running, mile after mile after mile, on blistered feet, with their lungs burning, their muscles screaming for mercy. Which one do you think is exhausted? It's not the quitter, it's the fighter. And that's you. You feel this tired because you haven't stopped. You've kept moving through storms that would have swallowed other people whole. You've carried weights that were never meant to be carried alone. You've faced nights so long and so cold that the idea of sunrise felt like a fantasy. And still, you're here. Let's be honest. There were moments when you almost gave up. Moments when you thought, what's the point? Moments when you stared at the ceiling in the middle of the night, and the silence in the room felt heavier than the air in your lungs. But something, and maybe you can't even explain what it was, kept you moving. Maybe it was a memory. Maybe it was stubbornness. Maybe it was just the quiet refusal to let life win that easily. But whatever it was, it kept you on your feet. And that's why you're exhausted. Because warriors don't rest in the middle of the fight. They keep swinging, even when the blade feels too heavy to lift. They keep walking, even when every step feels like it's taken through mud and fire. You think you're weak because you're tired, but that's the lie your mind tells you when you forget what you've been through. The truth is, your exhaustion is the badge you've earned in this war. It's the scar that no one can see. It's the silent proof that you've been in places other people will never understand. And you fought your way back, bloody, burned, but still breathing. They say the strongest people are the ones who smile through pain. I disagree. The strongest people are the ones who stop smiling, who admit they're tired, but still refuse to put down their sword. And that's you. I know. There's a part of you that wishes it was easier. A part of you that wonders why you have to fight so hard, just to have what other people seem to get effortlessly. A part of you that's jealous of those who seem to float through life untouched. But here's what I've learned. Those who float, they break when the storm comes, because they never had to fight for their breath before. You've been breathing underwater for years. You've been surviving battles no one even saw. You've been your own army, your own medic, your own shelter. That's why you're still standing, even if it's on shaking legs. Let me tell you something no one ever told me. You're not supposed to feel fine all the time. You're not supposed to be energized, happy, and carefree when you're in the middle of a war. Feeling drained doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're in the thick of it, and you're still moving. You wouldn't expect a soldier who's been fighting for days without rest to be smiling and skipping. You wouldn't expect a climber scaling the side of a mountain to look fresh and calm. So why do you expect that of yourself? You're tired because you're fighting, and fighting is what's keeping you alive. You might not see it right now, but this season of exhaustion, it's shaping you into something unbreakable. Every step you take when you want to stop, every breath you take when your chest feels heavy, every time you keep going when you have nothing left. That's the forge. That's where the weapon is made. And the weapon is you. And here's the last thing I'll leave you with for now. The enemy, whether that's life, pain, fear, or the shadows in your own mind, wants you to believe that being tired means you're failing. Don't believe it. Being tired means you're still here. It means you're still swinging. It means the fight isn't over. And neither are you. You carry things no one knows about. Not just the kind of things you can name. Not just the bills, the deadlines, the daily tasks. I'm talking about the invisible load, the silent weight that lives in your chest and never leaves. And the cruel part, most of the time you can't even explain it to anyone. How do you tell someone, I'm tired because I'm holding back my own collapse? How do you say, I'm fine on the outside, but inside I've been standing in the rain for years? You can't. Because people don't understand what they can't see. They see you walking into the room. They see you showing up to work. They see you sending the text, returning the call, paying the bill, and they think that means you're okay. They think if you're functioning, you're not falling apart. They think if you can smile, you're not breaking. But you know better. You've been breaking quietly for a long time, and you've become an expert at it. So much so that no one even notices anymore. There's a certain kind of loneliness that comes with that. It's not just the loneliness of being physically alone. It's the loneliness of being unseen. You could be in a crowded room, surrounded by laughter, and still feel like you're locked in a glass box, watching the world through a barrier no one else can feel. You speak. They hear words, but they don't hear the weight in your voice. You laugh. They hear joy, but they don't hear the cracks between the sound. You keep going. They see motion, but they don't see the war you're fighting just to move. And here's the thing. This invisibility, it cuts both ways. On one side, it protects you. If they can't see the weight, they can't use it against you. They can't pity you. They can't talk about you like you're broken glass. But on the other side, it isolates you, because no one reaches for a hand they don't know needs holding. And so you've learned to live like this, carrying everything yourself, because it's easier than trying to explain what no one will ever truly understand. Let me tell you something I've noticed about people like you. You don't just carry your own pain, you carry everyone else's too. You're the one they come to when their life is falling apart. You're the one they unload on when they can't handle their own storms. You're the one they text at 2 a.m. because they know you'll answer. And you do, because that's who you are. But here's what they never see. Every time you take on their weight, yours gets heavier, and no one ever asks how you're doing. Not really. Not in a way that you can answer honestly. So you keep giving from an empty tank. You keep bleeding for people who will never see the wound. That's why you're tired. Not because you're lazy. Not because you're weak. but because you've been carrying more than any one person should ever have to carry, and you've been doing it alone. Think about it. When was the last time you truly felt light? When was the last time you woke up and your first thought wasn't about what you had to survive that day? When was the last time you moved without feeling the drag of everything on your shoulders? For most people, those answers come easy. For you, you can't even remember. This isn't just mental weight. It's physical. Your body feels it. The tightness in your chest when you wake up. The heaviness in your legs when you walk. The dull ache in your back that no stretch or rest can fix. The way your eyes burn, not from lack of sleep, but from holding back tears for so long. This isn't in your head. This is in your blood, your bones, your heartbeat. And yet, despite all of it, you keep moving. That's the part no one ever gives you credit for. They talk about strength like it's something loud, visible, dramatic. But real strength? It's this. It's what you're doing right now. It's waking up with the weight still there, and getting up anyway. It's putting on your shoes, even when you want to stay in bed until the world forgets your name. It's answering the phone, smiling at strangers, paying the bills, keeping promises, all while dragging this invisible anchor behind you. And here's the raw truth. No one is coming to take it off your shoulders. This is not a fairy tale where someone rides in to rescue you. This is not a movie where the right song plays and suddenly the pain disappears. This is your life, your fight. And yes, it's unfair, but the fact that you're still here, still fighting, still carrying, that says something about you no one can ever take away. I want you to hear me when I say this. You're not broken for feeling this way. You're not weak for wanting to lay it down sometimes. You're not a failure for being exhausted. You are proof that a human being can carry hell on their back and still move forward. And that's rare. That's dangerous. That's powerful. So let them think you're fine. Let them think it's easy for you. Let them think you're just strong, because they have no idea what it costs you. And honestly, they don't need to. This is between you and the fight. And when you win, because you will, they'll never know just how close you came to falling. But you will. And that's enough. But here's what they don't know. They think your exhaustion means you're fading. They think it's a sign you're about to give in. They think that because your shoulders are heavy, your will must be breaking. They don't realize this is the part where you're most dangerous. I'll tell you why. Because exhaustion strips away the noise. When you're this tired, you stop pretending. You stop wasting energy on appearances. You stop caring about the things that used to distract you. And what's left is the pure, unfiltered core of you. The fighter, the survivor, the one who doesn't know how to quit. This is the part they never see coming. They thought they were wearing you down. They thought every blow they landed was pushing you closer to the edge. But the truth? They were burning away everything but the part of you that refuses to die. Think about it. You've been here before. You've had nights where the world felt too heavy, and somehow you still made it to morning. You've had moments where you swore you couldn't take one more step, and yet you took 10. Every time life has tried to bury you, you've clawed your way out. Maybe not fast, maybe not clean, but you did it. And now you're here again. Not because you were spared from the fight, but because you survived it. That's why you're dangerous now. You've been to hell so many times. You could draw a map of it. You know every shadow by name. You know every trick the darkness plays. You know every lie pain whispers in the middle of the night. And you've learned something most people never do. You can be bleeding, exhausted, and still be a threat. See, people mistake comfort for strength. They think the well-rested, well-fed, smiling ones are the strong ones. They're wrong. The strongest ones are the ones who've fought with empty hands, who've stood in the fire and learned how to breathe in smoke, who've carried wounds they didn't have time to heal, because the battle wasn't over yet. That's you. And here's the truth. The more tired you are, the less you have to lose. That's what terrifies them. When you've been pushed this far, you stop playing by their rules. You stop waiting for permission. You stop asking for understanding. You fight differently now. Not for approval, not for recognition, not even for fairness. You fight to win. You fight to end it. The people who underestimated you, they were looking at the surface. They saw the circles under your eyes. They saw the slump in your shoulders. They saw the quiet in your voice. And they thought that meant you were done. What they didn't see was the calculation happening in your silence. The way you were saving your breath for the next strike. The way you were letting the pain sharpen you instead of soften you. They didn't see that you were loading every ounce of strength you had left into one final blow. This is the beauty of being here. When you've been pushed past your limits, you discover you have more. You've been here before. That moment where you thought you couldn't possibly keep going. That moment where every muscle screamed and your lungs begged for mercy. And yet, somehow, you kept going. Not because you weren't tired, not because it didn't hurt, but because something deep inside you decided, this will not be where I fall. That's the thing about you. You don't just survive. You adapt. You learn. You turn every wound into a weapon. And once you've learned how to fight while tired, you become unstoppable. Because the enemy can't wait you out anymore. They can't say, we'll just keep the pressure on until they break. They can't drain you, because you've learned to fight on empty. You've been fighting like this for so long. You've forgotten what it's like to have full strength. But here's the secret. You don't need it. You've learned how to win without it. You've learned how to fight dirty when you have to. You've learned how to hold your ground, even when your legs are shaking. And that makes you terrifying, because a rested fighter is dangerous. But a tired one who refuses to fall, that's a nightmare for anything standing in their way. I want you to hear this clearly. You are not still here because life has been kind. You are still here because you have been relentless. You are not standing because you've been spared. You are standing because you've learned how to stand in a storm. Your exhaustion is not the end. It's the sharpening. It's the fire that burns away every last trace of hesitation, until all that's left is the will to keep moving forward. No matter what. They thought the fight was wearing you down, but really, it's been building you. And when the moment comes, when you finally unleash everything you've been holding in, they will never forget what it feels like to face someone who refuses to quit. Now it's on you. You've heard the truth. You've felt the weight in these words. If even one line cut through your chest, don't just walk away and forget it. Mark it. Leave your sign in the comments. Type "still fighting" so I know you're one of the ones who refuses to fall. And if you know someone who's on the edge right now, send this to them. Let them know they're not breaking, they're becoming. Because the world needs to see exactly what happens when the strongest ones refuse to quit.